All right, good afternoon. Just want to start by saying obviously very disappointed in Saturday in regards to the outcome. We had one goal on game day, and that is to win. And we're not able to do that. So obviously had a chance to watch the film, much to teach off of and grow from in all three phases. But just bottom line is that now we had a chance to play and see a lot of our new faces and how they responded to a high-level opponent, and now I get a chance to evaluate that and build off the things that we did well and correct the things that we made mistakes on and continue to go forward. Want to recognize some players that did a great job, giving us a great look. Our scout team players of the week from this past week against preparing for Ohio State, Connor Hull on defense and Jeff Utzinger, and then Brock Lowry and Jack Greer on offense, and then Declan McMahon on special teams. So appreciate those guys and their effort. Got a lot of guys each week that allow us to get ready each week, and that's very, very critical in our process. So excited about welcoming Indiana State to Memorial Stadium on Friday night, 7 o'clock kickoff, and have a special relationship with Kurt Mallory and obviously his entire family. But just a lot of respect for him, and I think we're going to have some former players from Coach Mallory's era be here for a reunion, and Ellie's going to be back as well. So she was jokingly saying didn't know what colors to wear, and obviously she needs to wear blue to support her son. It says blood is thicker than water. So, but appreciate that family. Obviously very, very important to our program, and just a lot of respect for them. So appreciate that and look forward to having them here. Obviously they're going to come here hungry, ready to compete and play, and they'll play their very, very best. So need a very important week of preparation, shorter week. Already had our Tuesday practice today on a Monday, and to be able to accelerate the week and get ready for an early kickoff. Questions?
I swear I'm not trying to rile you up, but the topic of Friday games, you've played a couple of them. You've always made your feelings clear. I recognize there's an extent to which this stuff is just marching orders with the media rights deals and things like that. But just, I guess, do you ever give that feedback to the conference of basically just your opinion, your position on playing on Fridays?
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty consistent, from the very beginning. And, there's no question that, I'm not going to, keep saying it over and over again, but I just, we can't have any recruits at the game. They're all playing, and their families are all at their sons' games like they should be and all that. So I am a 15-year high school coach and have a lot of respect for what they do and how that night is special. So, yeah, whenever I'm asked, I don't sit up there and bring it up every meeting, but and I know everybody has different opinions and there's different reasons, and I don't sit in their seat. I don't make those decisions, but I do feel like I've been consistent. I'm not trying to, just keep bringing it up. I just think it's important, and I understand the whole dynamics of it all with different variables with media and everything. So, but there's certain things that if anybody wants to know my opinion, they know what it is.
With Aaron Casey, when you watched the film, what impressed you kind of the most about his game? Seemed to be really playing the run well. Yeah. Did you kind of feel he was the best defender on the field on Saturday?
Yeah, I think he was. He just played with a lot of confidence. He's very decisive in his run fits. Just played fast, played physical, got guys on the ground, 2 elite running backs that very, very talented players, So just like I said, the biggest thing was just the decisiveness in his fits. And I thought, Jacob, JMF played really well too, right next to him. So it's encouraging. I always have said if you want to have great defense, you got to have great linebacker play. So he definitely was, our best player on that day, and I expect him to continue to grow and keep improving and getting better, So, but he's the leader of our defense, and that's, as we tell with our linebackers, that leadership is both in verbal leadership and production. That's how you play linebacker, and so he did both, which is great.
Hey, Coach. Sitting up in the press box, the offensive line looked markedly improved from our vantage point. I'm curious, from a coach's viewpoint, especially after watching the film, breaking it down, what did you see and what was your opinion of their play?
Yeah, I've been asked about that a lot leading up to, the first game, and I felt like that we were a lot better up front from, when you go through spring football and obviously everything you do during fall camp when you have pads on. And next test was to see how you do, in a game, but then obviously against, Ohio State, a team that's strong on both line of scrimmages traditionally. So I felt like we got movement. I felt like the guys were targeting their guys accurately throughout the game, and I thought they did a lot of positive things. We had 2 hits on the quarterback. We gave up 1 sack, we did not sustain our blocks to the level that we know we have to moving forward. So the strain to finish to me is the next component of that. But step one is targeting the right guys, getting on the right people, and creating movement. So to me, definitely much to build off of. So yes, was encouraged by that. Trying to get even more guys ready to play. The course of a season, guys get dinged up, and to be able to mix and match and put our best 5 out there. So so we kind of made some adjustments, and we have some flexibility to move guys in and out a little bit, which is good. And but Coach Bostad's done a really good job with that group, and the expectations we just keep getting better every week.
Yeah, it looked like Jameer Johnson got a little bit banged up in the second half. I guess, what is he dealing with, and how's he doing injury-wise? And I guess overall, I know you said some of it was just cramping, but how do you feel like you got out of week 1 in terms of health?
Yeah, we had a couple guys cramping, which is, obviously a weekly situation. I think as the weather unfolds this week, it's going to be a high of 76 on game day. So we'll be up 10 degrees cooler than it was this past Saturday. So don't expect that to be a variable for our guys moving forward. And then, the way we have the availability report now, so guys will be listed on that each week. So really probably not going to discuss a lot about injuries. We'll have that put out 2 hours before kickoff and let that kind of handle that situation.
With the defensive line being so impactful on Saturday, how would you kind of evaluate their performance, especially against Ohio State's offensive line?
Yeah, I tell you, I was encouraged. I expected them to play well, but you don't know. And I thought Andre Carter was extremely disruptive. He'll only get better as he learns our system more and continues to trust, playing within it and the different things we have him do. And I thought Philip Bleedy was very disruptive as well, although he went the wrong direction a few times on some movements, and that jacks you up, leaves a gap. But and I think even L.D. Cox played his best football, since he's been here, and you got Marcus Burris, who's another guy that's new that I expect to just keep getting better and better. I thought Nick James, one of our young redshirt freshmen, he shows tremendous promise. He's extremely explosive, a little undersized, but what he makes, he really lacks in size. He makes for in quickness and speed and athleticism, and then PJ as well. And there's a lot more competition in there, a lot of guys that rotate in, want to get Vincent Steed more involved. I think he's a guy that I know can help us and give us a chance there, and that'll be the case moving forward. And then you take, Linnell Carr, and I thought he played real physical, not a big guy, but very athletic. And Miles Jackson was just, as he always is, he's just steady, and then you got also mix in there, Anthony Jones at the bull spot, and he also plays the outside backer against heavier personnel. So was encouraged by our D-line. I thought we had a couple mistakes in some key situations defensively that was frustrating because I felt like we should have held them to even less points had we done a couple things that, a couple picks that we had chances to get our hands on that we didn't. We ended up getting 2 field goals, so that's 6 points there, and we got to make those plays. You play a team like this, every time you get 2 hands on a ball, you got to pick it off. So, just thought that the D-line set the tone, and it was a big area of focus for us to go out and get guys that could help us right away, and those 6 guys that we brought here, they all played, and I thought they played well.
And Coach, you mentioned after the game that you felt that you were a little bit conservative offensively in the second half. When you're seeing that on the sidelines in real time, what's that conversation with Walt like? Do you say, "Hey, come on, we got to start pressing the gas," or how does that play out?
Yeah, no, I think it's like anything else. You see what you see, and feel free to make my comments, but there's also a lot of layers to it. The one frustrating thing that kind of stuck out to me that really put our offense in a bad spot. We had 4 crucial penalties that caused us to call. We started 4 drives inside the 20, 3 inside the 10, which is tough. It affects play calling. It affects psyche. All you got to do is just look at the stats. When you have to start that far down inside your own territory, it's very difficult against anybody to move the ball and score points, let alone against this team. So I think that put us in a negative spot. It does affect you. You're trying not to put your young quarterbacks in a, bad situation to make a big mistake, a catastrophic mistake. You throw a pick six in that situation where you turn the ball over and it can snowball on you. And I also felt like, and this is just, statistically it's true, we did not do well on first downs, which put us in too many third and longs, which once again, that's the negative. That's kind of the one thing you don't want. There's about 3 teams in this league where you say, you know what, we got to stay out of third and longs as much as possible. You're going to have a tough day. And they're one of those 3. And so just because of what they can bring, their speed, their size, their mass on the edge, and they have 2 of the best defensive ends in the country and some inside guys that are extremely explosive. So that puts a lot of pressure on your offense. So that definitely probably played a role as well. So, but we're just going to grow with our guys. We got to keep growing with them each week, and you'll see that. We'll see that. And I think, there's no doubt. I mean, we didn't play good enough on offense to win. You got to score touchdowns. I know that. We all know that. So, but I do think when you think about up front, which is where it starts, and we got the skill around them, we just got to keep growing it and get these young quarterbacks developed, and the best way to do it is to play, and that's what they got a chance to do. And we didn't have play on either one of them, but it ended up being pretty balanced, not necessarily by design, but just by the way it worked out. But we wanted them both to play, and they did. And Tatum's going to start this week, like I said, after the game, and they're both going to play this week, and we'll have a chance to evaluate it and make a decision moving forward.
Tom, beyond the defensive line, how would you assess the way the other transfers played?
Yeah, I was encouraged by our secondary. Nick Toomer stuck out to me, number 15, and just a guy that, I wanted him so bad the first time. We recruited him so hard. He comes from a great family and just great people, and so glad he's here. Such an awesome person. He's long, he's athletic, he can tackle. I thought he did a really good job. I think that, anytime you have that kind of length at corner, Jameer Johnson did some good things, like his ability. Kobe Minor, same thing. He had missed a little bit last couple of weeks, so he's kind of get back into the flow. I think he can continue to grow and get better, but I think he stuck out to me as well. And I know from a transfer perspective, Christian Turner shows burst. We know he had that, and then we just got to continue to just fine tune our offense in that regard. And I thought E.J. Williams, as a transfer, DQ, those guys can make plays for us. So I just like the guys that we have. I think that we've added some playmakers to our team, and just got to keep growing together each and every week. But those are the additional guys besides the D-line to me that stuck out.
I know you mentioned the quarterbacks when you were talking about the offense before, but just now that you've had a chance to kind of look over the film, and I know it's an ongoing kind of decision that's extending into this week and beyond that, but just from what you've seen on the film from Saturday, just what do you see from Brendan? What do you see from Taven? Things that they that you liked that they were doing, things that they need to work on going forward.
Well, I think you had. In that setting, they have to make decisions, and sometimes they made good decisions in both the run game and the throw game, and I could say this about each one of them, and sometimes they didn't. There were times where receivers didn't. There was a time it may look like the quarterback misses, but the receiver runs the wrong route, makes the wrong read, and just a couple of those that were, broken up. If they were run, the routes were run a little bit different, with different type of cuts and angles and different things. It's a completion, So, but I felt like that overall, I don't think either one of them just separated from the other, just my opinion, just looking at it. You guys all saw the same thing I saw. And so I'm looking for that to continue this week. And that's what we're looking for, someone just to separate and become the guy, So, but I think that they showed their youth in some situations. But I thought they both showed poise. I think they both showed that the moment wasn't too big for them. But that was their first time playing in that amount of snaps and at this level, and so you just got to continue to evaluate, which we will, and obviously they can both throw it and both run it, and you just got to be able to figure out who's the one that's going to give us the best opportunity to win on game day.
Daniel on your right and Daniel on your back.
Obviously, you already said that some of the play calling was dictated by game script and starting so deep in your own territory, but we saw you guys come out with running the ball a lot, quite a few option looks. Is the idea that as you guys get more comfortable with some of that option running and as your 2 quarterbacks get more comfortable throughout the season to kind of use that option, use that run attack to open up more passes downfield that you can try later in the season?
Yeah, I think that, anytime, I would think this is another thing, whatever style we wanted to play, you got to run the football in this league. You got to stop it on defense, and you got to be able to run it on offense, and then your throw game comes off of that. To me, that's without question what we want to be able to do, and for a lot of different areas of that, and different components that can keep the secondary, and to try and create some looks that makes it easier on the quarterbacks, which is kind of the big picture objective, because at the end of the day, you're trying to help him be at his very, very best, whoever that person is in there. And so there's no question, we have talented receivers on the perimeter to get the ball to, got good length, good athleticism, and got to get those guys the football. We know that. So, but to me, it's when they can't just lay their ears back, and just come after you and give you all these exotic looks. That's what makes it really hard on most quarterbacks. I don't care who you are. And so to try to eliminate some of those and be able to create those explosive shots down the field in early downs, when they have to stop the run and worried about the run, that puts you in a lot of conflict is the whole objective, without question. So that's the part of it. We just got to keep going forward, keep moving in the right direction. So obviously this is opportunity number 2 to do that, and thought today was another good step for that in our practice today. And we'll have a normal Wednesday tomorrow and be back in pads and ready to go. So that's just all part of, building our system.
This isn't your first year with a QB competition, obviously. With the 2 that you have this year, I'm curious how you've seen their off-field relationship kind of expand and evolve throughout the summer.
Yeah, I think it's been one of the better ones that I've been a part of in regards to the 2 guys getting along, and they've spent time together. They've golfed together in the summer. They both love to golf. Actually, both pretty good too, but much better than I am. That's for sure. But they're competitive. They both want to be the guy. So that's where that natural tension, creates, and that's part of it. I don't care what position you play in. When you're trying to compete for somebody else and only one guy gets to play. So, but at the same time, how they handle that's important. It really is. I mean, especially when you come off the field and you got to be, helping, talking through things. Coach Bell's in the press box, and those guys can communicate, and he's seeing things and helping each other make. Because at the end of the day, it's about this team being successful. So that's encouraging because that shows to their character but that's, once again, I know they both want to play. I get that. So, but I think when you have these quality of young men, that they're going to be able to handle it the right way and help you continue to build your team, because that locker room is very important.
You talked about the rule changes with the timing last week after actually going through a game and going through it. How did you see that change the way you went through the game, and what were your overall thoughts?
Yeah, from a football perspective, I know I've seen some things that some coaches' comments about the commercials. I have no idea about all that stuff, but I just know that, when the clock's moving, after first downs, it's going to shorten it a little bit. When it was first introduced, it was kind of like, the way it was explained to me, it's going to be 7 to 10 plays a game. I don't know the number yet of what it does. I think it definitely depends on the style of offense that you're running. I mean, you think about in the past when we played against an academy, when they would run the true triple option under center, and they're trying to shrink the game and keep the ball. I mean, it can definitely limit. But the way the clock is now, that could really limit your possessions. So I think that we'll see moving forward. I think every week we'll have more data. Now we're with week 0. Now week 1 already in the books. They'll start getting numbers. I'm sure they'll be putting it out. So it definitely does shorten the number of reps that you have in a game. And that was initially introduced as a player safety issue. To be able to put guys in a better position. To not play too many snaps. And so because with a lot of tempo offenses today, a lot of teams are getting a lot of snaps. So I think that was it. But you can debate it, different reasons for all the motives and all. But end of the day, to respond to your question, it definitely is going to make you have less plays, for each team without question, just because the clock's moving when you get a first down rather than stopping. So to what extent it affects it, I think we'll know more as it unfolds.
Following up, you kind of talked about this with the defensive line, and I know you seemed optimistic about the flexibility, I guess, that you have at some of those positions, but it felt like you were able to use a lot of different personnel groupings Saturday. Is that group maybe not just performed well, but did you see the flexibility, the versatility that you wanted to?
Yeah, I think that's a good point and good observation, because we definitely did that, and you're trying to maximize your roster. their skill sets, trying to get best matchups, with your opponent. And I do feel like we got some versatile guys and guys that give us a chance to do certain things. And we want to put those guys in the best position possible. And you think a guy like Anthony Jones, he gives us a lot of flexibility. A lot of times you watch him play in space, he plays like a linebacker, and so, but he also has the ability to, at 260 pounds, he can rush the passer, stop the run in the box, and take on offensive tackles and big tight ends, So, but I just feel like that we need that flexibility. And versus 10, I thought our defensive staff did a great job with those transitions and those substitutions, and didn't have any situations like you sometimes have early in the year where you get too many guys on the field or have to run the guys off. And Coach Carreri and Coach Wilt do a great job, organization with our guys. So I feel like that we have, that kind of a defensive unit. And, but once again, we didn't know until they play, how I thought we tackled well as well. I think that's something that's very positive. A couple missed ones, but that position flexibility as well as playing as much guys as we can, just to be able to keep guys fresh so we can finish in the fourth quarter.
Philip Dunham had the interception, but he also seemed to be in good position kind of throughout the game, got a lot of snaps, I think it was 140. What did you see from him, and how much growth has he made, in the last 6 months or so?
Yeah, it's been very important growth. We've challenged him. He's one of our most talented defensive players, I believe. He's still young. He did play for us last year as a true freshman in a limited role, but he was a guy we knew we needed to have him take the next step. It just has a great feel. He made that exact same play in practice. We talked about it, like it's amazing you play the way you practice, and just to reinforce that, to be able to reaffirm to each player, hey, this is why it matters how you do things every day. And so he's been our biggest takeaway guy during fall camp, and it showed up on game day. So just a talented player without question, but he's still young. Got to be able to stay locked in, stay focused, and he and Josh have been holding down that rover spot for us, and it's great to have two guys that can play and just both can sharpen each other and hold each other accountable. So I feel like that he needs to continue to keep building off his performance from Saturday, but definitely encouraged by his play.
You touched on it a little bit in your open, but your relationship with the Mallory family, them coming to Bloomington on Friday night, what do you expect that moment to be like when you guys meet at midfield, you and Kurt, or just in conversations with the Mallory family?
Yeah, just a ton of respect. Matter of fact, so I've always talked with Kurt, but during the pandemic, we talked a lot. He was kind of just a lot of questions about what was next and this and that. What are we saying in our meetings with coaches in the Big Ten, and knew that would kind of affect them and how are we doing this, how are we doing that. And so he and I have talked a lot, and highly respected him. And when I was a high school coach, he was a college coach way back then, and he and I are the same age. So just, obviously close with his dad before we lost him, and then just Ellie's relationship with this whole, town and so many people here in our program. So it'll be a very warm embrace, not your typical, it'll be more than your typical just, pregame bro hug, that coaches give, kind of thing. But no, it's just so much respect, I know his brothers, well, and just, so much, just a football family, good people, and are so respected in this entire profession at such a high level. So just really looking forward to it, a chance to, we always cheer for him when we're not playing him. Obviously, it's the first time we've played him since I've been here. So, but, I think that, and I probably knew Doug better, and until the last 2 years, and really gotten a lot closer with Kurt because of proximity and being here. So, but just really, neat family for sure. So we're excited to have that opportunity and a bunch of former players coming back and to be able to unite and see both of them. So, Mallory family, pretty special to this program, no question.
You utilized 3 running backs in the game, and obviously Jalen's skill set's a little bit different than the other 2, but how do you plan on using all 3 of them going forward? Do you feel like maybe you'll switch to 2 predominant running backs, or do you think you'll utilize all 3 the rest of the season?
Oh, we'll keep using all 3. You're right, they are different, and so just different ways without question, so, but as the offense grows and continues to get better, but those are 3 guys that we felt like, we want involved, and they're going to have a chance, and as that position guys get dinged up throughout the course of a year, so you never know how that's going to play itself out. But I feel like that all 3 of them are talented players. And then, Trent didn't get a lot of snaps, but he's another guy, and as well as David. Those 5 guys to me are our top running backs that we really believe in, and to have a chance to keep that those guys fresh in there, and they got to do a lot of different things, and Coach Johnson does a great job with them, but just managing that part of it is part of his responsibility as well. So, but definitely expect to use a lot of those guys throughout the course of the season, yes.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Awesome. Have a great day. Elio.